Cool. Are we ready to go, yeah?
Yep.
Fantastic. So we're going to have a discussion around the events that took place here in Dublin over on Thursday, and the events that have followed ever since that, right? Because it's been painted as different things, right? The media is portraying the situation as a race war and anti-immigrant, and anybody who speaks out against what they feel is a government that's letting the people down is labelled as the far right or anti-immigrant or racist. Now, I did a video on it on the exact day when I heard about the event. I think it was like 5 or 6 o'clock. I did a video on it and I posted it on socials, and it sparked a lot of reactions, right? I think it's 300,000 people have viewed that video across all socials. There's about 3,000 comments on it. Now, the feedback is mixed. The Irish people feel supported. They like the fact that somebody could understand their concerns for the safety of their people and what the Irish people are going through. And essentially what I was reminded as well, like we're essentially Irish ourselves, right? Because you're living here, you're paying taxes, we're integrated into the system, we've been here a long time. So it was refreshing for people to hear a voice on their side. But there was also a little bit of rejection,
Pushbacks, yeah.
a little bit of pushback from certain people that I think are siding with the narrative that's being painted by the media. And obviously the events that happened on that day were tragic. But I wanted to have a discussion with you because I wanted to bring somebody, I wanted to have a discussion with somebody who reasons very well, somebody who, in my opinion, is very good when it comes to risk assessment, right? Because we have to discuss how these things have happened, how they could have been avoided. So I'd like to get your take on the situation before we dig into deeper conversations and deeper subjects.
Yeah, to me, looking at it, everybody is giving different opinions. And in fairness, most people are right on what they're saying. It's just we need to get people focused on actually what is the issue at hand.
Yeah.
People are bringing things that happened a few years ago, this and that. Let's just bring it back to what happened. That's just that one event. How did we get there?
Yeah.
And there is, from the government side, let's just take a point of view from the government side. They're looking at it as like, this highlights our incompetence.
Yeah.
So how do we fix that?
Yeah.
Now, everybody who went out caused chaos. You gave them a way out.
Yeah.
So looking at the riot, from where I was sitting, I was like, no.
Yeah.
Like the lack of leadership, the lack of observation, the lack of listening to the people, the lack of your actual greed got you into this situation.
Yeah.
You fold under certain rules imposed by the EU. So too many things just brought the government into a standstill.
Yeah.
And everybody who just stepped out to riot, you absolutely look at it from Boris Johnson.
Yeah.
So he gave a press where he labeled it race riot. No. So all of them have a narrative that has nothing to do with the root cause of the issue.
Absolutely.
So why would you label a race riot?
Yeah.
So if we actually have to identify the race, the crime and the victims, like the criminal and the victims, biologically are not Irish.
Yeah.
You labeling that a race riot is race against whom?
But see, I think, so the way they're deflected from that narrative, right? And this is what really pissed me off. And people that are backing it and they're saying, yes, anti-immigrant, and the people that did that are anti-immigrant and stuff like that. What people have to understand as well, right? There's one thing about the Irish, and I said it, you don't touch children in this country. It doesn't matter whether those kids could have been black or whatever. I can assure you the reaction of the people would have been similar. They would have been outraged. Because the issue that they're having, it's not that there's immigrants in the country, but the issue that you have is you have an immigration system right now that has seen over 120,000 immigrants come into this country. And I think there's no process of integration for those migrants into society, first of all. But not only that, Ireland is experiencing rapid change that is bound to cause these issues. And many people talked about it beforehand, right? So what people don't understand and why some people got at me when I was saying it about the migrant situation, Ireland has, I think at the moment, 20% of the overall society in Ireland is 20% of that is people that are not Irish, that aren't born here. And that is the same as Sweden. And what that does is it causes more social unrest. Most of the countries that have that, there's so much, I would say, what do you classify it as? Antisocial behavior increases in those countries, right? It increases. And that's the issue you have. So when people are looking at it, it's not only a concern for the safety of the Irish people, but a concern of the safety of everybody that's in the country. That's the issue that's caused with that. But on the situation, so when you look at it from what you've said, how would it have been avoided?
I take it from the government point of view first. Just for the fact is, it took me 10 minutes on TikTok. I'm not big on politics. I absolutely despise the whole politics side of things.
Join the club.
It took me 10 minutes on TikTok to puzzle out, wait, you did not see this coming? How? So you're on a high paid salary, which requires you to do a job. People voted you in those positions. You don't sit in that position and go home to your nice house because, I just applied for a job. No, people actually relies on you.
Absolutely.
People depend, like their life is based on you. So I walked into town a couple of weeks ago, and I'm one of those people who drives everywhere. So every now and then you kind of like, you need a reality check. Just walk. Just walk. And you look at people, you be like, I would not like to have that life. Like, I personally would not. How do they go about that shit? And now, those same Irish people who witness that on a day-to-day basis will just see a busload of people that just come in and can sleep soundly, relocate in another place. Look, every Irish person knows at the end of the month there's one person we complain the most about. It's the taxman.
The taxman.
So now you're telling me I should just cross my arm and saying we're helping. Like, why didn't you start with your own house first?
Absolutely. And that, do you know what you said there, Herman? That's the biggest issue that Irish people are facing. And that's one of the things I said, and I felt empathy for them, right? In my own country, if we can't get taken care of first in our own country, how then can you take care of other people and then expect me to accept that when my family's living in hotels, they don't have a safe place, the kids are growing up in hotels, that's not safe and secure for kids either. There's no sense of home. If it's a single mother with children there, they have to worry about their security in the middle of the night. And in some of the places where they're staying, Herman, it's very dangerous. If you talk to people and people actually got away from their houses or their TVs and looking at what's being told on TVs and go around to some of these areas where people are being housed, you'd see the problems that they face. But it's not only that, there's so many areas which the government has failed on for the Irish people.
Their statement around this issue, to me, still doesn't make sense until today. The people who cause riot, you should look at the riot as a side effect.
Absolutely.
What's the actual root cause of the problem? Those people, prior to that event, they weren't going in smashing shops. So if you associate that as a race riot, that somewhat implies they've always been doing that.
Absolutely.
But they haven't. You know, they are opportunists where they're seeing, okay, chaos, let us all go smash things and take whatever they want. He goes, but it was only in town that they did that. Given it was a race riot, as you labeled on your news, it would be in every county.
Absolutely.
But it wasn't. It was in one place. It can't be a race riot. Like, you're addressing the whole country.
But not only that, right? See, on that topic, when people are saying it's a race riot, I had a lot of friends that I know that are black, mixed race, from different backgrounds. They were in town on that night. They were videoing what was going on. And I called somebody and I was like, I don't think it's safe for you to be in town right now based on everything I'm hearing. He goes, no, it's fine. Like, nobody's attacking anybody here. They're just smashing shops and things like that. Not that it's justified or it's okay, but people were in there. Black people were in there that I know. And they had it on video. None of them got attacked. While all of this was going on, all of this race riot. So why didn't they get attacked in that moment? But again, that's the government deflect from the situation. But you mentioned something earlier, and I think it's really important for people to understand about this conversation, right? The government get paid a high salary. And here's my issue, right? So one, the news, the media outlets is a big problem, which I can't understand who in there sat there and thought, yeah, let's write this article. This is gonna make sense and this is gonna calm the situation down. Like from a risk assessment perspective, I'm not on their salaries, right? We're not in their positions, but it's very if that's the best solution that these people that are getting paid high salaries could come up with to solve the situation, then they all need to be fired. Like how you could have easily said anything to deflect that. In that instant, the minute that happened,
So
they could have
people would
took
look
charge.
at, look, when something bad happens, people want to kind of feel like sheltered.
Absolutely.
Like if somebody broke in my house and a few family members say, oh, we're gonna stay with you in your house today. That's what I need. People needed that, like the place is safe.
Yeah.
While you are doing your investigation, the place is safe.
But how
They
could
go-
they have done that?
So before we even get, how could they have done that? Like, hold on, you get paid for the country to get things done correctly. That's what they get paid for. They are there to come up with ways that improves people who live in Ireland.
Yeah. Security.
They don't get paid for the simple fact like it's a great job.
Yeah.
Because if that's the case, I want to apply.
Yeah.
If it's just for the great job, like I want to apply. No repercussions, I want to apply. But that's not what they get paid for. What they get paid for is to do something for things that are not right.
Yeah.
So every year people go to vote. And I always wondered, if the same person was doing the right thing, the whole country should just vote for him. But there's always different election because we still haven't arrived at a point where this is the right guy. And the issues that keeps happening, here are the list of people the government put in jeopardy that day. The guards, number one.
Absolutely.
So not, as a statement said, not every guards are trained for that level of incident. So you tell me, you're part of the EU board, where you have countries like Germany where the policing over there is like it is at a high level.
Absolutely.
What benefits should you not be accommodating their level of dealing with things like this? You waited before you sent the police in there to literally worry about something going wrong.
Yeah.
It's too late by the time the police start coming in there. There's videos where a police is getting punched.
Yeah, that was
That should never happen.
Yeah.
Like in no country should that should never happen.
And he was isolated as well.
It was isolated.
Yeah.
So how did, in an event like that, you didn't see the risk like these people might just turn on the people who actually protects the country?
Well, it's quite, here's the issue, the other side of it, right? It's quite easy to sit at home and make up ideas, and I don't even think they are making up ideas or thinking of solutions, and that's the reason why. They're not understanding those things that happen. But I tell you, the person that what I've seen so far is under a bit of scrutiny is the chief commissioner, the police commissioner. He's under scrutiny because that's your men. You should have your men better equipped. You should have your men better supported for that situation.
So there was not enough riot gear.
No, but
for the police.
But everybody, the minute that happened, right, we knew. I think
everybody knew.
The majority of people watching that knew there's going to be backlash on the back of this. In their position, what you should have been doing is getting as many people out there as possible.
Quickly.
Issuing a statement as quick as possible.
Yeah.
And I think even if I'm in the police, right, for example, what I would have I think would have been a smart thing for the police commissioner to do, come out and make a statement. We're appalled, we're shocked by these incidences, and we're not accepting them. We're not happy about it, and we're going to do something about it. We're going to fix this issue. You reassure the people that you're upset about it. You don't come out and deflect and put out blanket statement and say, oh, we think it was this person, more information is going to be given, and you just give an overall statement about the people's critical condition or whatnot. No, reassure the people there and then. And then you might have been able to defuse the situation that happened. Because people would have felt like, yeah, the police are also outraged by this. They're not happy with it as well. Right, we're on the same team. People probably would have eased off and protest peacefully. Maybe.
Like every news outlet out there kept labeling and saying riot, riot, riot. Nobody at some point just stopped to say, can we just like forget the riot? Yeah. Like the police are dealing with the riot. Nobody's still dealing with the immigration system.
True, and so this is the part that I feel sorry for Irish people for, right? And I really feel bad for them because what's happening, and when you look at it, if you have empathy for people, or just if you have a heart, what you're gonna see is it's the people that have been getting kicked, and being screwed over, and now a situation like this has happened. And what all the news outlets have done is just kick them even more.
Yeah.
They've just come out and kicked them and labelled them as this people, as that. Now, what happens when I can't express myself? I can't express the anger that I have. And one thing I say to people, right, it's like, from my experience of working in sales and dealing with angry people or angry clients, the one thing you do not want to do is tell them they're wrong when they're angry with you on a call. The last thing you do, because that client will insult you. There's a good chance they're gonna discredit your business.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you will never be able to do business with that client again. The best clients I've ever dealt with, or I've had that came back, or some of my best clients were clients that initially called me angry, and I just listened, right? I gave them an open platform, and you say, okay, I understand, I empathize with you, I understand you're angry, you have a right to be angry, but now I understand this is a big problem. How do we fix it? That's it. I give them that solution. How do we fix it? And they'll tell you, as angry as they'll be, they'll tell you, you need to do this, you need to do that, you need to do that. And at the end of it, they feel like they're being heard, and now they feel like they have a friend and not an enemy. What the state has done, and what I think the governments have done, they've just created more enemies within their own country by discrediting the people and kicking them while they're down.
I personally don't have one answer that fixes all. All I can point out is how you got there.
Yeah.
How you got there. How can you allow, in a certain criteria, I don't know how they verify people who come in the country.
Yeah. Well, apparently there's an issue with that. But
that's a whole different topic in there. I don't know what the criteria are, but there is more news or evidence that people keep posting online, and that just keeps. It took me 10 minutes. When I say it took me 10 minutes, and I said, hold on, they are not seeing this. So here's something I found out that I did not know. Deportation order can be given to someone, and they decide themselves whenever they leave the country.
Okay.
So you can self-deport yourself whenever you feel like it. So let me give you an example. The landlord kicks me out of his house. He leaves it up to me whenever I can leave, and he doesn't come back and check if I'm still in the house.
Yeah.
Would I leave?
Absolutely not.
Now, there's criminals that have been given this, and people found them in Dublin after that order. And now this is a criminal we're talking about. He was wandering free.
And with serious offences.
Serious offences.
Yeah.
How?
So you can see the overall concern of the people.
There's this lady, what's her name? Helen.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, she could be a good person, or I don't know. But there was an interview I seen on somebody's page where they asked, how do you know that person actually left the country?
What was the response?
Well, there is no fault. When the person who's been given that order leaves the country, nobody knows. So no, you're accruing problems on top of problems. So there's housing crisis, there's people who are literally going through a lot of things.
Do you know what it is? It's a government that is failing to take responsibility and is trying to sweep everything under the carpet.
Well, you can't anymore.
Exactly. The problem with sweeping too many things under the carpet, eventually it gets full. There's no room to sweep it under the carpet anymore, and it explodes. You don't leave unwanted things in the fog. You address them, because sooner or later when you come back to it that you haven't addressed, it becomes a dragon. And it's harder to kill the dragon than to address the issues that would have been at hand beforehand. And that's what you're having. These are the explosion of all these things. And my issue and my concern is that the Irish people are being blamed for it when it's not their fault. The fault falls back. And one of the things, for me, as I look at it, any migrant, what we have to understand as well, right? Any migrant that's living here, you pay your taxes, you're a citizen here, or you're seeking citizenship here and doing the right things. These things are a threat to you as well.
Yeah.
These things are a big danger to you. And instead of pointing the finger at the Irish people, they're not the leaders. They are not the leaders. It's the leaders who are screwing up. And you know an interesting thing I discovered as a consequence of watching the interviews that take place in the Dáil and some of the debates. There's no integration process for migrants that come into the country. There was somebody put in charge of handling that side of things. I think this was sometime last year.
So how do
it
you
could be a bit further.
So how do you become familiar with the new ground that you have not been integrated to?
But here's the issue: the person that was put in charge of that came up with proposals, required additional resources, put it forward to the government, and it was delayed by the government. It took 6 months or so to get a response based on that, based on the conversations that took place in the Dáil that I observed. So how crazy is that? So we've got all of these people that are after coming in. Now people don't understand the numbers, Harmony. The numbers are huge. The biggest across the Western world. Those are the numbers that Ireland are dealing with. It's too much change for one country to handle.
Did you know also? It's almost like a revelation. I was looking at the politics side as if like I was like, wow, all of these things happen and I didn't pay attention. So anybody at some point, Ireland's gonna pass a law where anybody in Ireland can vote, whether you're an Irish citizen or not.
That's
irrespective of your visa status. So you're telling me in my house, a person who's probably coming to visit for 2 days can tell me, hey, I don't like the seating arrangement you have on your chairs.
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Yeah. They can tell you how things need to be run in your house.
And I'll say something. I can say something that
house.
people don't grasp on that one. The government benefits if that law is passed. The Irish people don't.
Absolutely.
Or the Irish people get screwed on that one. For the simple fact, like that's their place.
Yeah.
Now they have to compete the right of what should be with somebody who is probably just passing by.
Knows nothing about the culture, knows nothing about the land, knows nothing about the people
So
whatsoever.
look, here's the first few things. What was the first few things that we did when we came to Ireland? I'm gonna play Gaelic.
Yeah.
Why?
You get to understand it.
Look, I need to know. Oh, that's their favorite sport. Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Oh, what like there is this integration before you have the say on anything that has like how. But these are people. This is why I say like politics. When you get into it, if you are, like, you're definitely not the right sort to be part of that.
No, absolutely not.
For the fact like they have been running things that way for a long time.
You can't change that system.
All dogs don't learn new tricks.
No.
And I can tell you, look, we realize here's a few changes that happened in Ireland recently. But in the coming years. Jobs now require younger people, but do you not think government now requires younger people to actually decide certain things? The people who have been there for a while, what have they done to avoid certain chaotic events that happen in Ireland?
They've essentially, from sources, I'd look at them as more credible sources than what's being portrayed out there. They've sold the country out to the EU. They've sold the Irish people out to the EU. They've no care for the working class.
So here's
and I think, sorry to cut you off, but I think they have a hatred for the working class, right? And those are reports from credible sources. I think very valid statements or points for people to make about the government. And when you look at it from a long range, there's a track record of screw ups. So it's not just the one. No. There's a track record that, as you look back at it, you can see, you have to intentionally do this to the Irish people.
Yeah, it's not coincidence.
No, you have to intentionally do this to people. I genuinely think these are not mistakes. You intentionally do this. And you cannot tell me you care or you love the people that you're doing this to.
When you think of the effort that goes out to relocate a migrant, a person who's on a waiting list requires less. Realistically. So that person who's on the waiting list, he's just waiting for you to point where he should live.
Yeah.
A migrant first, you have to do his paperwork. He has to get put into these accommodation places.
Yeah.
And then you have to find them a place. Like, there's more work to be done on a migrant. Not stating that it's a bad thing.
But at the level that's being done at now, it's difficult and there's not enough
you
resources.
You should put 60% of effort towards the Irish people and that 40 split out across the other way. But the Irish people are looking at it as like, you're giving us little,
Yeah.
you're giving more. Like you pay taxes.
Yeah.
Like, and there's people who are grinding day by day. I don't know how many people can sit there. See, and people are looking at people protesting or complaining about things as if like it wouldn't happen to any other race. If I was in Africa, people flying in from Europe, coming in busloads, and I'm sitting there saying like, I ain't even got the bare minimum.
Well, here's a funny thing. Those are the same reasons why our families decided to come over here, right? Because of the things our governments are doing even worse to us, where we come from, and we complain about that too. But the people, so this is what bothered me, right? People label the Irish as racist, and I hate that, because I've made that mistake in the past and say, yeah, Ireland is racist. No, Ireland has elements of racism within it, as any country does, right? No problem, we understand that. But if you look at the growth that this country has taken, Harmo, from 2000 when we arrived in this country to now, back then it was if you lived in a place like Jobestown, your house could be getting burnt. You talk to the wrong person the wrong way, you're in a lot of trouble. And families were getting attacked in some of these areas and the house is getting burnt. That's completely changed. And people are not giving the Irish people the credit for that level of development.
No, that level of integration that they done themselves outside of the. I don't know how much impact. See, I can't say this statement because I don't know. I don't know how much of the government impact was in that. That I don't know. But from a community, from the friends that we have, they integrated themselves.
No, absolutely. And even for us, right, when growing up here and you're experiencing that racism, I don't remember any government officials or our schools giving talks on racism or any of that. It didn't happen, right? It's as we grew along, you integrated with people, you got along, now they start to look at you as, oh yeah, he's one of us, as a person, right? And it's changed dramatically. Now Ireland is a more accepted place. People that are labeling as racist, I say this is a perfect example.
It's a diversion.
Yeah, but not only that, any foreign person that wants to challenge me on that conversation, right? And I say that because I've had one or two oppositions on it, on social media and stuff. You leave your house every day. How many Irish people do you go by on a daily basis? How many of those turn around and insult you for being black? How many of those tell you they don't want you near them, right? On a day-to-day, let's talk about it if you want to label the country as racist. You greet Lewis inspectors. You go to the shop to buy things. The person serving you more than likely is Irish. If you're going to Tesco or whatever, maybe they're Irish. There are many of us working in those shops right now, integrated with Irish people. Do they abuse you? Do they racially abuse you every single day? Do these people, not some of them, help you on a day-to-day basis? Our children now, young black kids, are playing for Ireland, representing Ireland in sport, something that wasn't frequent back then. All of those integrations have happened. Look at League of Ireland right now, for example. How many kids are playing football there?
I think the race
all
thing,
across the board.
The race thing was just used because, as I said, their level of incompetence have hit an ultimate high.
Absolutely.
That now everybody is looking at you, and do you ever do something stupid and everybody just looks at you, and you realize you're stupid? You say some smart comment that hits nowhere.
Yeah.
And
trying to deflect.
Literally, the Irish people are looking at the government as like, what are you talking about? You're still addressing the riot. That situation is bigger than the riot.
We got to look at the issues that led up to it and how we prevent that going forward.
Like to summarize it all, really is in terms of the policies in terms of helping Irish people. It's very little because their cries are too loud.
A coincidence.
Their silence of the cry is too loud now for you to keep ignoring.
Yeah.
Like they would have. They went there to protest first. Yes, there's people who turned it into a riot, but most people actually went out there to protest. Like this shouldn't happen. And your policing structure, if that small riot was what you deemed a big deal, then you are missing the whole point. Yeah. So that side of things, you put your own men in danger. Which captain will put his own men in danger? And the people who broke buses, shops and all this, hold on a minute. The insurance is going to cover them. The government was happy sitting where they were looking at you is like, oh, that's the story for tomorrow.
Yeah, and they've been running with it since.
And that's the main point. Like, Boris Johnson doesn't even live in Ireland.
And he's able to comment on it.
And he was able to comment on it, and you printed that.
Yeah.
Like, the minute he said that, if you are actually doing your job,
If you're on the side of truth and honesty.
if you had some ethics about you, you would have said, can we just get back? That had nothing to do with the riot. What's the main issue is like somebody with a knife has done this in broad daylight.
Yeah. We've had a terrorist attack in our city.
Like, we
need to prevent these things happening.
Can you address that?
Yeah.
But no, you accepted a race. It has nothing to do with it. I couldn't give two crap about the race thing. But that event, look, the race thing implies, as you said, every day when I wake up I run into somebody who says something mean to me.
Absolutely. They're knocking at my door telling me
but
to get out.
What I'm concerned about, I might bump into somebody who has a knife.
Yeah. And is ready to use it.
And has proven to use it. Like, come on. You're going to have to refocus where the leadership is failing. And you just want to propose new changes. Every year I hear new changes. And I always wait at the end of the year where somebody literally shows all the changes that they accomplished in the end of the year. How do you keep your job? Like, how are you accountable for your job? What's your success list look like?
Well, see, this is the issue with politics and why I hate politics.
Politics to me looks like this. It's a group of friends that we're gonna complain with the other group of friends. Nothing is gonna change. And then we're gonna ask other people, hey, which one amongst our group should we vote for again? And then that person passed, we still have the same conversation. Look, the housing crisis keeps going to shit year after year. So you're telling me every year we have to vote for somebody new, but yet the previous people in the past still haven't done it. With something needs to fucking change.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that's a good area to wrap this conversation up on, because I know there's a lot more that we can talk about, and there is a lot more that we will talk about. But what I wanted was an open conversation to give people an understanding of sort of, you know, the issues that the Irish people are facing, and to empathise with the Irish people, and to also look deeper into the reasons why this happened, not just what is happening and additional things happening, right? People don't go out and riot for no reason. They don't just go out because one migrant is after doing something.
It didn't happen before.
Yeah, it's never happened like this before. So the fact that this is after happening, what people need to look at is what caused this to happen. And it's not just a thing that is only impacting Irish people. It affects everybody in this country that is paying tax.
Most people who had to go to work the following day. There's people who, yes, their shops got smashed.
But some lost their jobs.
Some now in Christmas coming, we already know how tight Christmas is. Now they're sitting there wondering, like, wait, are they gonna fix that place? How quickly do I have, like, there's too many uncertainties that's gonna creep in throughout Christmas. But these government members, they get their bonus at the end of the year, and life continues.
Yeah, that's so here's another thing. That's the issue, right? Because if you're getting paid a high level of money, I can't understand why they're getting paid a high level of money, and more than what they show. But you're getting paid a high level of money, and you can't resolve these issues. That's what you're hired for. That's what you're paid for, is to solve these issues. That riot situation blew out of proportion because of their lack of action and the wrong actions that they have taken, and they continue to follow through with the wrong actions.
I still see, like, look, if when that happened, there was, now this is just me, I don't have an army to control or any of that. If that minute that incident happened, town became like a lockdown place to literally just put people like, we're really looking into it.
Yeah.
But then again, you limited resources on the guard. So how are you going to accomplish certain events like this?
And there's a lot. Do you know what it is? The other issue is you have a problem with, I think, the police relationship with the community, right? And they don't do a good job of that. And I can't understand why. If you get a group of high-paying people, Harmony, and you sit in the same room, you should come up with better solutions.
Yeah, but that implies better solution is what you're trying to aim for.
Very true.
Like,
very true.
Look, if people keep doing bad things, it's because the bad is what they're aiming for. Like you're assuming these people with a long list of CV of fuck ups into what the Irish people are not getting.
Yeah.
now want to do the right thing.
I think we've hit the nail on the head with that one. And on that note, we're going to wrap it up. It was an interesting conversation, and I think as these things continue to develop, our empathy, our concerns, and our prayers are with the family that were affected by the incidents that took place, the police officers as well that were assaulted. I think that's a traumatic thing. Hopefully, they can get back to work, because at the end of the day, they're just doing their job, and they tried to do that to the best of their capabilities, but unfortunately they were left isolated. They were left without support, and that's a consequence of bad leadership. Nonetheless, we really encourage people, it's a time for unity, not a time for separation.
Yeah.
Because if we unite, I genuinely think the outcome that everybody's pursuing, which is a better life, it's safety, it's a better environment to grow in, it's a better Ireland. And a better Ireland can only be achieved through unity, but also holding those accountable that we vote to represent us. It's very important, and we should be able to voice our concerns without being judged or called right-wing and labelled as anti-immigrants or racist. That's unacceptable. But we encourage people in that direction, and by no means do we inspire hatred. I think the Irish people are not in the position that they want to inspire hatred, but they just want a fair treatment, and that's a fair ask. The country's experienced an incredible amount of change over the past number of years that it's too much.
It takes its toll.
It takes a toll, and it's too much for one country. And people need to look into that aspect of things, because we now have the highest rate of a society where across the Western world you've got 20%, which are people that aren't born from the country, that are in the country. It's a fantastic achievement if you want to look at it from a position of being welcoming, but it's also dangerous.
Yeah, but you have to create a balance of the people who are here that needs things that they can't get, that you're offering for free to somebody else. Like, it's the level of enjoy. I don't
think we're gonna finish this podcast.
I used to think truly injustice was based on race.
Yeah.
I really used to think that, but then I realized, like, no matter who you were, if somebody's robbing you, that's still injustice.
Absolutely.
Like, and the way the government have been approaching, like labeling people right wing. Hold on a minute. Did you already assess like everything is just based on that? No, you haven't. But it's an easy way for you to get out. That's what I'm kidding. It's a smart comment to throw out when you have nothing else to provide. No substance, no value, no resolve, no resources. Because not for once, now an event has happened that caught you out.
Yeah.
It put you on the spot. It's like, wait, this person was known by the guards. This person had a deportation order in the past prior to him getting his citizenship. Like, what's your risk assessment?
There isn't, and that's the problem. Right, we'll wrap it up on that note, guys. Thank you all for your support. I truly appreciate everybody's comments over the past couple of days. And again, we welcome any conversation. I'm quite open to conversation with people, so we can all learn something and gain a little bit more value. Our concerns remains with the family that has been affected by the situation, and also with the entire country of Ireland. So God bless you all, and have a good evening.
Thank you, everyone.